Good afternoon, class. You are welcome to Spirit Success Professional Classroom. One more time, my name is Femi Richworld, Aiyeolowo. I am your tutor, and I will be discussing budgeting processing. Our topic definitions include definition of terms, objectives, and budgeting concepts in public sector accounting, budgetary controls, types of budgeting system, medium-term expenditure framework, MTF, and budgeting cycle. And after which we will take illustrations. Let's take some definitions as we run. All right, let's quickly define budget. What's a budget? We say a budget is a financial document or financial statement that shows the information about government revenue and expenditure, which will help to plan and execute set goals and objectives of the government. Another definition that I give to budget as a budget is a statement of both qualitative and quantitative data for planning and decision making of an organization. It includes revenue statements and other informations. For the government needs to know how much its revenue will be in a particular year, expected revenue from all sources, and expected expenditure from all sources. So in this class, we have just talked about budgeting. Let's go. Let's look at the objectives of budgeting in our environment or in the government system. Now, I'm going to mention just few of these major objectives. When budget is being done in a company or in an organization, the first major aim is to assist the policymakers in developing strategic world policies. What we mean strategic policy, we mean policies that are beyond 1 year and that can be used as a target to achieving the entity's goal. Number two, the budget helps to estimate total revenue and expenditure of government for planning. Number three, major objective of budgeting is to provide authorization for spending. That is, give authority to spending. What we mean by that is as soon as the president announces the budget for the year, it becomes what we call Appropriation Act or Appropriation Bill, and it allows for spending by the ministries. Where the ministries are not even given one hand to spend, the law says that they are allowed to spend the same amount of money they spent last period for the first 3 to 5 months of the new period or new year altogether. Next objective is it provides control mechanism for the nation's revenue and expenditure. Good budgeting helps to set standards, which is used in monitoring performance and carry out evaluation. So we can, for example, when we do government budgets in a year, we also have to prepare the financial statement to compare at the end of the period with the budget where there is variation, where the amount budgeted for salaries is beyond the amount actually spent. That is one of the reasons for a good budgeting system. Are we together? Let's look at the concept of budget in the public sector accounting. Okay? All right. When we say the concept of budget, the public sector accounting has procedure by which records are taken, accounting records are taken based on the approved budget. For example, the accounting procedure, we say the budgeting concept is relates to the accounting procedure that is concerned with the recording of authorized and approved estimates on or appropriations. What we're trying to say is that when the budget is being approved, the accounting system, we have to record this approved amount. We have to record this approved amount in what we call the vote books, and expecting spending to take place regularly in accordance to what has been estimated and approved in the vote book. This procedure allows for easy control of government revenues and expenditure. For example, I said the stage for you to have what we call the concept, we have to build up the budget estimate first. Each department and ministry to carry out their estimates and then submit to the appropriate quota for approval. The National Assembly and the Presidency approve at the end of the day. Resources then are allocated. And while that is done, recording takes place and reporting will be done at the end of the period. And a review is carried out by the auditing department to show that the amount budgeted was actually spent or beyond that budgeted, and that can be queried. That why do you spend more than you have spent? And if what the SS is approved, it becomes a reason for the next budget altogether. So when we have spendings more than the approved revenue, or when actual budget deficit, when the expenditure of a budget is higher than the revenue, we say it's a deficit budget. And when the revenue is higher than the expenditure, we say it's a budget of surplus or surplus budget. Let's go to budgetary control. Now, budgetary control we can simply define to be the process to enable budgets and targets set to be continuously examined for review or adjustments in relation to the performance achieved. Now, when you say control, you are saying whatever has been approved should be maintained and implemented in that understanding. But most times in real life, actual results always or tend to go against what is targeted or budgeted. And that's why we have majorly some of this list here, control areas in government accounting. Number one is revenue control. This involves ensuring that all government revenues are collected as at when due for the period concerned. Since it's an authorization and is a law, agency concerned should pursue and ensure that government funds or revenues are collected. Number two, fund control. I know we have land development fund, we have land consolidated revenue fund, and all the funds in government. Now, and I've told us that the fund is an entity or an accounting entity in which resources are kept for a particular usage. Now, if funds are not controlled, it interprets that someone can transfer money from development fund project or account, which is meant to do what we call long-term projects in the nation. So, recurrence expenditure and waste that becomes what? A waste. So we are saying there should be fund control as part of the budgetary system of the government. Expenditure control is another, ensuring that what is expected to be spent is what is spent. And where there is a variation, it must be examined and queried. Cost control, we have to ensure that our cost is based on what we are budgeted for. And that's why the budgetary department should ensure that the cost estimated is very, very accurate. Cash control, this ensures that there's no loss of fund of government or loss of cash. The cash of government are regularly lodged to the bank, and limitations and authorizations are also set for those officers in charge of spending government cash or government money. Payment and disbursement control. This is very important because most times a lot of payments are done without authorization. A lot of money are disbursed without signatures and approval. So it has to, this establishes who is qualified to sign and approve a certain amount of money to be spent and who is to pay and what level of officer in charge and at what procedure that must be followed. In one of our class we talk about loss of government fund. This ensures that government funds are not easily mismanaged. Salary and payroll control is another one, and this is a very important one. I think has been very effective in Nigeria. Yes, they are what we call ghost workers, but the past few years, the government has been able to try and reduce ghost workers in their list because salaries are budgeted for, and if you are not in the list, it's not possible that you may be paid, except probably a situation very high corruption. But ordinarily, government salaries and payrolls are being controlled in a very strategic and computerized manner. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back to the class, we will be talking about types of budgets and MTEF, that is medium-term expenditure framework, and budget cycle, which will lead us to practical questions which we will take in this class. I remain Femi Richworld Aiyeolowo. Please subscribe to our video, like and share to your neighbors and friends. And if you need us for special training in your offices or you want to join our online training for classrooms and examination, call 0814-842-1111, 0814-842-1111. That is 1 into 4 places. You are calling from outside Nigeria, call at 2+234 8148 421111. Are we together? God bless you all. Thank you.